The film genre, known as queer cinema, is perhaps most known for its subtleties and subtext. In queer film, it's what's done and said without directly saying anything that captures the audience. It's through visual metaphors and simple phrases that we see the real story unfold. The 1996 film, Bound, created by the Wachowski sisters, provides some of the best examples of this approach to filmmaking. There are several examples of these metaphors and careful subtext throughout the film, but today we will be counting down our top 3. I'm Kayla, and this is Queer Cinema's countdown of the top 3 scenic metaphors in the film Bound. Coming in at number 3 is what I've titled The Redirection of the Male Gaze. In this scene, which is part of the film's opening, we see the film's main characters, who we have yet to be introduced to, on an elevator together. As the man and one of the women, who we will later come to know as Caesar and Violet, exit the elevator, we see the traditional male gaze scene of the camera's view panning down the backside of a woman slowly. Starting from the woman's waist, the view of the camera feels as though it's caressing the young woman's backside as the view moves down. It's a scene, as Chris Strayer puts it in his article, Femme Fatale, or Lesbian Femme, Bound in Sexual Difference, is shot in a classic film noir style, except in this instance, shot from the point of view of a butchy woman. Because we soon realize this sexual gaze is actually coming from the perspective of Corky, the butch-presenting female handyman who's recently been hired for some renovations in the building, which happen to be taking place in the apartment next to Violet and Caesar's apartment, leading us into our number 2 on this countdown. Coming in at number 2 is what I like to call cold versus warm, how setting insinuates more than just sexuality. Throughout the film, we are presented with images of both Violet and Caesar's apartment of residence, and the apartment Corky has been hired to renovate. What's important to note is the stark contrast in the apartments. Caesar's apartment is the epitome of gray and cold tones. It's all gray, white, and black. There's a clear absence of color, and it leaves the viewer feeling cold when scenes are shot in that room. Whereas Corky's apartment is full of warm tones such as reds and pinks and even floral patterns that make viewers feel a wash of warmth and comfort. This lends itself to the association that, for Violet, life with Caesar is cold, lacking feeling, it's blank and fake, like an undressed mannequin, whereas life with Corky is one full of color, warmth, and real life. The floral patterns represent how Violet can fully bloom into her true self and her sexuality with Corky. The life Violet could have with Corky is a comforting one in which she can fully come out as herself, as a lesbian escaping the mob. The life Violet could have with Corky if she got out leads us to our final point on our countdown. Coming in at number 1 on our countdown is Violet Needs Out. Throughout the film, Violet makes frequent mention of how she needs to get away from Caesar and the mob. Except that's never how she says it. Every time Violet talks about running away, she always uses the very specific statement that she needs to get out. No matter the context of the scene, her terminology remains the same. While she definitely means she needs out of her current relationship and out of the mob, it appears that filmmakers were intending another added meaning. In the film, Violet isn't, as many would put it, out of the closet. She isn't out about her sexuality. Perhaps when she says she needs to get out, she's talking about finally being able to be open about her sexuality. Violet does in fact need out, just in more ways than one. An interesting thing to note about this particular metaphor is at the time of Bound's production, the Wachowski sisters hadn't yet come out as transgender, and were still presenting as cis men. Perhaps Violet's need to get out was the personification of their own need to escape the celluloid closet. And with that, we conclude our countdown of Bound's best in show when it comes to scenic metaphors. The Wachowski sisters really gave the LGBTQ community a treasure trove of coded subtleties to explore in creating the cult classic Bound. We've explored some of our favorites here today, but there is an abundance of them throughout the film. Did you see your favorite on our list? Or did we miss it and need to make a part 2 with some honorable mentions? Let us know in the comments below.